We are back. Another episode of Dynasty Theory coming at you bright and early on a Saturday morning. What's up, Dan?
Buddy, I'm feeling pretty good for 9 a.m. considering I was up like past midnight here on the East Coast watching my Duke Blue Devils. Phillies lost their home opener. It was Major League Baseball home opener, but I am breaking away from my UFL studying this morning, JB, to dive into some Dynasty football. I am excited to talk trades with you.
Well, we have an hour. We have 33 trades we want to get through. What is the over-under on the number of trades we'll actually get through today? Well, we're going to find out. I see Greg in the chat. What's going on? Good morning. All right. So like I said, we have about 33 trades here, and I have them kind of clumped together. So initially, Dan, I was going to go like trade one, here you go, trade two, here you go. But for a lot of these guys, there were multiple price points and multiple trades, and the structure of each trade was a little bit different. So I have like trade one, but there's actually 4 trades under that trade one. And as you saw on the thumbnail for today's episode, that's Drake London. So Dan, for these 4, we have 4 Drake London trades here. 12-team Superflex, start 11, full PPR, plus half point for the tight end premium. First trade, Drake London for Nico Collins, 209 and 302.
That's a good one to kick off with, JB. And for a little bit, I struggle looking at it, but I think the key piece is you said start 11. And when you start 11, it just goes a little bit deeper for me. I don't want to lose Drake London, but I think 209 and 302 are good enough where I've got some guys in my rankings where I think like 209 could be a guy. And then 302's, still within reach where you can get something decent. So it's kind of a 3-for-1 with me. And I think Nico's pretty good. So I don't think I'm sacrificing. I think you're going to get a few really good years of Nico with CJ Stroud. So as much as it pained me to lose London, I'm going to take the 3, JB. How about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat here. The start 11 sways me a little bit, but even if it were start 10, Nico Collins, Drake London, what we've seen up to this point, obviously it took Nico a few years to really catch on here and break out. And obviously the arrival of CJ Stroud impacted that. And we're all expecting the uptick in Drake London's production with Kirk Cousins there this year. But I feel like that uptick, it was already baked into his price even before Kirk Cousins landed in Atlanta. This is an easy one for me. And some of these I was going through and I was like, okay, like I'm really sitting here thinking about this one. Like there's a lot to digest here. But for this one specifically, it's Nico Collins and the 209 and 302 for me. And if you're in the chat, I would be interested to know, when we're spitting these trades out, who you would like in these situations. I see Lur's comment. Nico's on the last year of his deal with no extension yet. That's his only pause. I get that. But I think based off of what we saw last year and the connection with CJ Stroud and the way that offense really, really produced, I would be surprised if we don't get an extension there from Nico Collins. I think overall might be a little bit less than what we saw from like a Michael Pittman extension, but I think we do get there with Nico Collins. And Dan, I don't want to get too sidetracked because we want to get through a lot of these trades very quickly, but I'm surprised you didn't want to take a little Michael Penix jab at me.
I'm playing nice in the sand, JB. I'm playing nice in the sand. We're still learning. We're still getting new information. He had a pretty good pro day, right? Looking pretty fast, pretty spry.
At this point, I think Michael Penix might be in that first round of the NFL draft. All right. Well, I don't want to, I don't want to talk about this too much because I went haywire on last week's episode and now I'm tucking my tail and running. But Dan, same league settings, 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR, half point for the tight end premium, Drake London for Rashid Rice and the 206. And I'm sorry, I apologize. This is a start 10, this one. Start 10, 12-team Superflex.
And I think, start 10, I'm thinking a little bit more, but 206 is that nice little bump compared to even 209 where you're getting really more into the heart of, I can see 1 or 2 guys I'd really like to fall to me. Some receivers with some really high upside. So this could be a 2 starters for 1 starter deal. Rashid Rice really did peak last year. I think Rashid's still in that Nico category. Good draft pick with it. I'm going to roll the dice and take Rashid in 206.
I'm in the same boat. So 2 for 2. Give me Rashid Rice in the 206, even with it being start 10. Again, if you're in the chat and you strongly disagree, please let us know. James Cook and Drake London for the 103 and 210. And this one's a 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR 0.75 for the tight end premium.
This is very hard, but I would think a deal like this falls in that category of, hey, what does your team needs? If you really need a quarterback and the only way you could get one is to move up to that 103, I think you're giving the owner a very fair offer in Cook in London. And it'd be really important for you to hit something on that 210, which isn't a terrible pick. But it would be strictly need a quarterback to move up to 103. If not, you're losing 2 starters, JB. So I struggle with that one a little bit. So I don't know if I can put a little asterisk and say, depending if you need a quarterback.
No, I think providing the additional context is critical along the way. You know, in fantasy football, there is a lot of gray area, especially in dynasty fantasy football. This one for me up to this point is the most difficult. With it being start 10, I'm gonna go up for that 103. If it were start 11, I might be a little bit more hesitant. But like I said, up to this point with these 3 trades we've discussed, this one's the closest for me. Drake London in 307 for 106 and 206. This is a 12-team Superflex, no tight end premium. Start 10.
Yeah, 307 doesn't mean anything to me in this deal here, and 106 is better than Drake London. So I am smashing 106 and 206.
Same. Get your hammer out. I mean, we've been watching a lot of the Avengers here in the Bauer household. Get my Thor hammer, and that's a smash. All right, so that's for Drake London.
JB, just like real quick, like this is a really fun draft to have 106. Like it doesn't even have to fall your way perfectly, and you're going to land with something really good if you feel confident about this trade even before the draft starts.
I have a league. I was looking at it last night. I have 105, 106, 107, and I'm just that's the money spot right there. That's it right there. So I'm pretty excited for that one. All right. Even though this is technically trade 5, trade 2, 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR. Not really sure why I hesitated to get that R in there, but PPR. Kyler Murray for Christian McCaffrey. This one's going to be straight up trade.
Yeah, straight up trade. I think this completely has to be roster specific. If I have, let's just say, 2 other quarterbacks, and the second could be Baker Mayfield, just solid enough where I'm like, hey, I'm going to roll the dice on losing my depth to get CMC and help me win a championship, I'm going to go after CMC. But if I only have one quarterback, even though I'm anti Kyler Murray, you know, I've never been like a big fan, even though I think this is the year to buy. I have to have a solid quarterback situation to move Kyler.
For me, it's. I mean, you could talk about roster dependent. You could talk about league dynamic. How are quarterbacks valued in your league? Christian McCaffrey, he's got the Dynasty Daddy and the Fantasy Calc value on his side when you're comparing them one for one. But for me, it's Kyler Murray over Christian McCaffrey. I want that high-end quarterback. Kyler Murray, he's 26 years old, and I think he's going to be in a position for his value to continue to rise and kind of get a little bit closer to where it was a few years ago. I mentioned Dynasty Daddy, proud partner of DynastyDaddy.com, and every one of these trades that we're going through today is from their free database. Jeremy is always doing such a fantastic job. I'm poaching as much free information that he collects as possible. So kudos to Jeremy.
JB, real quick, let me ask you, if you have Dak Prescott and maybe like a Tua or a Goff, they're your 2 quarterbacks, Kyler's your 3rd, would you move a Kyler then for CMC? Like, that could be the difference?
I would want like early second value in addition to Christian McCaffrey. I can't do it straight up.
All right, so that's the first time we're swaying a little bit. I think I'm a little more willing to gamble to get CMC, and I think you're saying, hey man, I'm keeping my quarterback position solid no matter what.
Yes,
which is fair. I can see that.
All right. 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR, half-point tight end premium. J.K. Dobbins, who has been getting a little bit of steam here. Okay, he gets medically cleared. He visits the Chargers. It's like from one Harbaugh to another. They're just switching backfields. You got Gus Edwards. Let's see what happens if they sign J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins are the 310.
Yeah, this could go a lot of different ways. Definitely encouraging right now that he's got that steam that you're mentioning, JB, because he needs it. But this could drag out for a while. Teams just bring him in right now, look at him, see how healthy he is, and they might wait months, see what they have in camp. Like, you just don't know. But 310 for me is just such a dart throw that knowing that teams are at least looking at him, he's been cleared. We know he's a talented running back with NFL experience. I'd rather roll the dice on a hope for J.K. Dobbins to come back than 310.
My only hesitancy here is that we know that once J.K. Dobbins signs anywhere, and again, it very well could be a camp body. It could be a veteran minimum deal, and then ultimately he gets cut even before the season starts. A lot of injuries coming off that blown Achilles. I don't like the even remotely longer term bet on J.K. Dobbins to be fantasy relevant. But my hesitancy here is once he does sign somewhere, I think you could get a little bit more than the 310. But if I have to pick today, J.K. Dobbins or the 310, I mean, just give me the 310, see if I can package it up in another deal, or once the NFL or rookie drafts roll around, maybe I can leverage that into something involving 2025 picks. But these J.K. Dobbins trades for me, they're going to be pretty one-sided. So does it change if it's the 306? Because that's another one.
Not really, JB, because if I'm in that mid-third round pick, like I'm taking a flyer on a Carson Steele running back UCLA or some guy that right now I don't even know, he might get drafted so late that it's not even worth it. Again, 310, 306. I need to get a little bit higher in that third round, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it would be terrible to have to draft a running back that has 2 good knees and 2 good Achilles. That would be terrible.
Yeah, but might be a Ford Stringer. Might never see the field. How many of those third round running backs last year? Now you could get a diamond in the rough too. So
but again, I don't think we need to look at this specifically at the running back position. There's going to be some wide receivers that are dropping to the 306 range that I would be more than happy to take over a J.K. Dobbins.
I think I like what you said too, of like getting a Dobbins and then trading him once the hype kind of goes up, or trying to trade up and move up a little higher in the draft, package something. So I think that's what entices me, JB. I think I could just do a little bit more with Dobbins one way or the other.
All right. J.K. Dobbins and the 307 kind of going the other way here for Josh Downs.
This is where I go with Josh Downs. He's just so young. He's a starter. I'm going to take 10 years of Josh Downs versus a hopeful few years of J.K. Dobbins if you're lucky.
Man, Dan has his projection hat on. He's able to go out 10 years in the future.
It's a lot of dynasty years, JB. We're in it for the long haul, man. We're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, apparently invest in Josh Downs now because he's going to be fantasy relevant for 10 years. You heard it here from Coach Dan. Okay, so that's our J.K. Dobbins wrap up. One trade here for DJ Moore. Start 10. This is a 12-team Superflex PPP. I need this coffee. I am really struggling this morning with PPR. Holy cow. I'm leaving the R off. I'm adding 10 Ps.
This is an hour before usual. 10 a.m. you would hammer it. 9 a.m. The caffeine's not quite there yet.
I mean, come on, man. Wake up. All right. DJ Moore and 108 for Sam Laporta. And I didn't even finish out the settings. PPR and an extra half point for tight ends.
This is a fun trade. I'll say that. And like everything you've outlined, when you give that league criteria and that scoring system, it's huge. 0.5 extra is not that 2-0 premium we love for a tight end. As much as I love Laporta, this is 2 starters to 1 to me. That 108 could be anything. Maybe you get lucky and Brock Bowers slid to you, then you just got Moore and Bowers, or you trade 108 and something to move up to get Bowers. Now you got Moore and Bowers for Laporta. Or even if you don't get Bowers, it's going to be DJ Moore and another stud. At 1.5 premium, I'm going with the DJ Moore side there.
Yeah, the half point premium, I'll go DJ Moore in the 108 as well. Lur says I'll take the package. comment from before. B Ford said should be Dobbins, but on March 30th, give me the picks. B Ford's also taking the package. 12-team super flex, start 10, PPR plus 0.5 tight end premium. Dak Prescott in the 310 or 107, 201, and 301.
You skipped one on me. All right, wait. All right, let me think about this. I was reading the trade above that in your notes, JB.
Sorry. We'll circle back to the next one. I'm just so focused on getting the PPR out of my mouth.
So on this one, now that we got the PPR down, I'm going to be a homer, man. I got to go with my boy Dak. I'm just not losing a starting quarterback. I'm assuming those other quarterbacks are going to go before 107. So that's not enough for Dak for me.
I agree. I don't think there's anything about being a homer about it. Give me Dak Prescott over the 107, 201, and 301. And then we're getting that 310. And heck, we could even move that 310 maybe for J.K. Dobbins if you wanted, Dan.
There you have it.
All right, here we go.
I love how we're stacking trades now, JB. We're getting in the zone. We're getting hot. You're stacking trades looking 2 moves ahead.
Sometimes you have to. All right, 12-team super flex, start 10, PPR, half-point premium for tight ends. Isaiah Pacheco and Calvin Ridley for Mark Andrews.
You know, this one's a bit harder than the DJ Moore 108 because I don't think Calvin Ridley's as good as DJ Moore, and I don't think Pacheco's as good as, well, probably not as good as the 108 just because of running back shelf life. But, man, it's still only a half-point PPR for a tight end. Oh, this is tough. I'm going to go with Andrews, man. I just think I'll find a way to get a Pacheco or Ridley. I don't think I could find a way to get an Andrews, even though I'm giving 2 starters for 1. Ridley's situation, Tennessee's not exactly exciting. Give me Andrews.
I wish we could be a little bit more divisive here. Maybe it's just, being in the Easter spirit and the coffee hasn't kicked in quite yet. I'm not as argumentative with Dan as I usually am, but I'm also going Andrews even with that 0.5 premium. All right.
Hey, real quick, just the show notes. Did you just delete everything we just went over? Like I'm watching this live document and stuff just disappeared. I'm like totally lost my spot. So I guess I got to go back to the top now. For our listeners, yes. I apologize, but JB's got me dizzy here. I'm making sure I'm not losing it.
No,
it's early in the morning, so
you might. I mean, this doesn't mean you're not losing it, but typically I make a copy of the show notes for myself and then I work off that document. I did not do that today. So yes, for Dan, please stay at the top of your sheet. I'm going to be deleting as we get through these, just so I'm skipping trades over here. I'm fumbling over my words. Dan can't find where we are on the sheet, so bear with us.
Now just make sure the wife didn't spike the drink or something. That's all. We're good now. What do you got? What do you got for us?
12-team Superflex, start 10, PPR, half-point premium. Josh Jacobs for James Cook in the 211.
Jacobs is now in Green Bay in a very nice situation, right? For Cook in 211. Cook's still the guy in Buffalo. Cook's a little bit younger, but Jacobs is a young back that's been around for a while. Is 211 enough, JB, is the question here. Oh, man. JB, I defer to you. Who do you like here, JB?
I like putting.
I'm on the fence. This is one of those trades, JB, that I'm on the fence about, and I'm DMing in the Discord, either our chat or maybe sometimes you and Mitch separate, and say, "Hey guys, this one's close for me. What do you think?" You got to take your time sometimes in these trades. You don't want to have any regrets.
Trust me. I know all too well. Now, for me, I have Josh Jacobs in a tier above James Cook, but from a value perspective. James Cook, we talked about Dynasty Daddy and Fantasy Calc. He's running back 12. Josh Jacobs is 11 and 13 between the two. And now we're adding the 211 to James Cook. On the sheets, I have James Cook in red. I think he's a sell at his current price. But that 211, it really pushes it to even for me. I would think that you might be able to move a different secondary piece with James Cook if you want to get up to Josh Jacobs. Just to provide a little additional context, I don't mind the plus with Cook. With it being the 211, I don't want to give a cop-out answer because I would say that if this was a trade poll in the Discord, I would give it the scales, right? I think it's a very even trade.
And we're going by normally Jacobs is a beast, and he landed in a good situation, but Cook scored more last year. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to throw that in.
No. We're talking through this. This for me up to this point, this is the most challenging one. I'm going to go James Cook in the 211.
All right. I think when we have an even near trade, you're getting two assets for one. And if you are going by last year, Cook did produce better. Health was holdout. Those things were factors with Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold that against him too much. Would you want to be active for that Raiders team last year?
No. His situation is so much better in Green Bay.
100%.
So much better.
And this is
even better than Cook.
Like, I feel far more confident that Jacobs is a safer asset from a 2024 NFL draft perspective than James Cook. So maybe this changes, fairly quickly here in a month's time, but I'm going to go Cook in the 211 here. All right. 12-team Superflex, start 10 PPR. We're getting the additional 1 point for tight ends. All right. I know the 0.5 premium was throwing some folks off in the chat, and typically throws me off too. But Chris Olave for Dallas Goedert and the 107.
For me, the focus on this trade is the 107. I'm not a big Goddard guy, but at a 2-point premium, he holds value. I think my plan would be to replace Olave with that 107, which could be a great receiver. But if the receivers go really early, I'll probably get myself either a Bowers or a great quarterback. Like, I love that 107. Give me the 107 and Goddard. I'm going to roll the dice. Even though I love Olave, it's not an easy one.
I like Olave just fine. I do think he's a little bit overvalued, to be honest with you. I think this is a free Dallas Goedert. Give me the package 107 and Dallas Goedert. 14-team Superflex. This is the first 14-teamer trade that we've had. Start 10, 0.5 PPR, no tight end premium. Not that it's relevant for this one, but DeAndre Swift and Christian Kirk for Devontae Smith. 14 teams, start 10, only half PPR.
This is a painful one, but the 14 team is going to tilt me to roll the dice on Swift and Kirk, even though I feel a little nauseated saying that, because I really love Devontae Smith. I mean, I even use love loosely there because of the Eagles' offense has been a little sketchy. But 14 teams, man, depth wins, and I think Kirk could produce probably close to Devontae Smith numbers, and then you're getting Swift, who, hey, they just signed him as a free agent. They're saying we're in for at least this year. Give me Swift and Kirk.
Agreed. 12-team Superflex. This is such an easy show for me because I can just say agree. I mean, again, if you're looking for the fiery JB, which I know can get obnoxious sometimes, well, you're in luck because it's not going to get you today. All right, 12-team Superflex, start 10, half PPR, 111 or Nick Chubb in the 306.
I'll take the 111. As much as I'm always a loyal Nick Chubb, go Dogs guy, man, coming off that injury, I really like this draft. It's a little deeper than usual at 111. I'll roll the dice and take 111.
I agree. Sorry, I'm asking a question there to Lurs in the chat. Yeah, give me the 111 as well. 12-team Superflex, start 10 PPR. James Conner for Marvin Mims.
Man, JB,
we are now at the point in the show sheet where Dan has not looked at the trades yet.
Is there that too? Is there a none of the above here for this one, JB, James Conner or Marvin? Conner, that Bear's gonna hop on the back eventually. Mims, he hasn't done anything, but you know what? There were some games last year where I saw some spark in Mims. He's much younger. This is Dynasty. Every year we try to trade Conner. You can't get anything for him, and he just stays on your roster and helps you win games. But I'm going to roll the dice now and try to get something for him in Marvin Mims. Let's hope that potential comes out in year 2. The opportunity is definitely there in Denver.
This would be a situation where I do think roster construction is going to come into play in the direction that my team is going, and league dynamic. I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, but league dynamic, because there are plenty of leagues where, even though it's kind of an outdated mindset, running back is still king, right? Yeah. So you go out and you try to acquire running backs, even veterans, at their current price. And a lot of people, they would rather get the production than move at their current devalued state. So
Yeah.
in a
JB, I'm sure I have a roster where I've traded my draft picks. I have a pretty strong roster, but James Conner is a back I need this year. So it may be really hard for me to move him for Mims in a roster like that where the running back depth is really thin and I need Conner for at least one more year.
I'm going to go James Conner. I know your Mims. Greg, he's in the chat. He doesn't count. Denver loyalist. You don't count for this one, Greg. Sorry. And then B Ford says Mims as well. I'm going to go James Conner. I want to go back to this. This is part of the Goddard conversation, but Lurs posted, I just traded Goddard for 110 in David Montgomery in a 14-team Superflex. Start 2 tight end. So 28 tight ends are being started on a weekly basis and 1.5 for tight ends. So you're getting the 1.5 PPR, 14 team, start 2 tight ends. So 28 tight ends are starting. Do you prefer Dallas Goedert?
That's a good one.
Or the 110 in David Montgomery?
I played in one of those start 2 tight end leagues before, and that is valuable. And not to mention it's a 14-team league. So like, I'd really hate to see you have to start. Let me go to my tight end depth chart here really quick. Find the lowest tight end possible. Like, I would hate to.
Jawan Johnson, maybe?
He might be stuck with like Kobe Parkinson if he doesn't play his tight end cards right. So I would say if you have 2 tight ends, and maybe Jawan Johnson was one of them, I would roll the dice and make that trade because he's got 2 starters to 1 in a 14-team league, and I think you can live without Goddard. But he's got to have someone better than Kobe Parkinson as his tight end too. So, Anthony, who do you got as tight ends there if you are moving Goddard? Like the trade, but you need something strong. Sorry, Brian Ford. it was the best example I had really quick. Mo Alley Cox, maybe. I don't know,
Colby is out here catching strays from the coach. Holy cow, so unprovoked. I like the trade. It's so difficult trading a tight end in those settings because like the price is absurd typically, but with it only being the 1.5 PPR for tight ends and it being 14 teams, getting that extra piece that you can have as a startable asset with Montgomery and or the 110. I think it's a very fair trade in those settings, which is crazy, but that's the nature of the beast. But I'll take the package there. All right. 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR, half-point tight end premium. The former Dallas Cowboy, Dalton Schultz, or Christian Watson.
12 teams, start 11. We had this Green Bay situation is interesting. And friend of the show, Scott Connor, put a post on Twitter there yesterday, or put his post on X, if I'm going to be technically correct, about the Green Bay wide receiver situation. And, 2 years ago, I loved Watson. Last year, I loved Jaden Reed. Saw Romeo Dobbs come on strong late, but those guys disappear. There's like a very flooded Green Bay situation. Schultz just reloaded for 3 years. Not a full premium, but it's still a premium at the tight end. I'm going to lean Schultz in the start 11, keep that tight end position strong just because of the crowded Green Bay situation. And Watson kind of slid a little bit last year, a little bit of a one-trick pony. I like him
and now he's seeing the hamstring specialist, right? Like he went.
There's too many ifs, JB. You mentioned the hamstrings, the crowded backfield. If I'm gonna go with solid points, give me Schultz and that fun Texans offense.
This is tough for me because in those settings, Dalton Schultz doesn't necessarily have that high of a ceiling. So if we're looking at a ceiling play, I think it's Christian Watson, but the dude he cannot stay healthy. Give me Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to continue to grow in that offense and now playing outside of just the 1-year contract, like you said, getting the 3-year deal. I'll go Schultz, but in those settings, it's more of an indictment on Christian Watson as opposed to loving Schultz in the 1.5 PPR.
I'm kind of assuming my roster would be a little deeper at receiver than tight end when making that decision.
Darnell Mooney or Ty Chandler in 311. This is a typical 12-team super flex, start 10 PPR, and then additional point for tight ends.
This one could blow up in my face, but I'm going to go Darnell Mooney based on being that guy that we were all once high on in a bad situation that I think could rebound now in a good situation. In Atlanta, right, with Cousins, I just think it's his time. And I think there's still some risk in Chandler that even though we got a little coach vague speak that, he may be the guy and he did flash last year, I think Minnesota's going to find someone else to, at the very least, rotate and give me the upside of Mooney.
I mean, and they have Aaron Jones too.
That's right. Yeah, that's that guy they brought in, right? It's a pretty good guy, I'd say.
A 1-year deal.
My mind was even before that Jones deal, JB. So let me retract a little bit. Now it's super smash Mooney. But even before Aaron Jones, I kind of saw that coming. A little brain fart there.
Yeah, I thought that was slipping your mind. I just want to throw that out there. All right. This is going to be a very quick rapid fire on Justin Fields. We have 8 Justin Fields trades. And Mitch put together last week, 2 weeks ago, 5-10 minute video on some of the most traded players that were pulling in the Dynasty Daddy trade database. Justin Fields, I believe he came up. I can't remember, but go check out that episode that Mitch put out. All right, Justin Fields for Traylon Burks and the 207 14 team.
I will go rapid fire, but one comment that's going to be a disclaimer for all of these. I think Justin Fields, the NFL just told us, is near toast. All right. But now if you're on the field side, which many are, you may feel different. But I'm going to go Burks and 207. 14 team, give me the upside in depth.
14 team, give me the upside in Justin Fields. Justin Fields in a 25 second for Rashad White and a 25 third. 12 team super flex, start 11.
Give me friend of the show, Rashad White. Love Rashad White this year.
Give me Rashad. Justin Fields and the 104 and the 304 for Jordan Love, 12-team super flex.
To me, this is 104 for a stud starting quarterback. Give me the stud starting quarterback in Jordan Love. JB, Fields is toast. There is no upside. But maybe a little bit. He's in Pittsburgh, so you're hoping. Although he got the Russ statue out back, so maybe you're not hoping. I don't know.
No, I moved the statue to the front yard now. right there along the curb. I'll go Jordan Love here. Justin Fields for DeAndre Swift, 14-team super flex.
14 teams, give me the starter and Swifty.
I'll take Swift. Justin Fields or the 205, 12-team super flex, start 11.
Love the 205 enough. Give me it.
And then we see the range still here. Justin Fields for 111. Same settings.
Oh, beautiful 111. Oh, smash.
Justin Fields in the 110 or the 107.
107's a sweet spot, man. I'm moving up. Goodbye, Fields.
Last Justin Fields trade. Justin Fields and Jalen Waddle and a 25 first or Joe Burrow.
Joey Burrow, baby.
Yeah, that one's a smash for me. Dan, we might get through all these trades with some time to spare. I'm impressed.
Point at 9 a.m. in the morning. That is
impressed. Good. All right, another commonly traded player, Marquise Brown, finds himself a new home in Kansas City for 1 year. Marquise Brown or Ramondre Stevenson, 12-team Superflex, start 11.
I'd be curious how many receivers you have to start here. Hollywood Brown is definitely more enticing right now, but I'm a Ramondre guy. If you got to start 11, I don't want to be thin at that running back position. I'm going to roll the dice on. I'm going to roll the dice on Ramondre. It's close, very close for me.
I'll take Hollywood. Hollywood or Demario Douglas in a 25 second. This is half PPR. 12-team.
Give me Hollywood.
I'll take Hollywood.
I like him in Kansas City.
Hollywood in the 206 or the 110 in a 25 third. This is a 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR, half-point tight end premium.
This one's brutal, but I'm going to lean starting 11. I'm going to go with Hollywood and 206 for the death.
All right. And then we got 3 more trades here. This is around Deontay Johnson. Another wide receiver that finds a new home here heading into 2024. Deontay Johnson or Mike Williams and the 211. It's a 12-team start 11 PPR.
Mike Williams just went to the Jets coming off that big injury. Deontay to Carolina. Man. These are like the 2 receivers that you just want to move. Is 211 enough? I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson. I think she's going to get peppered with the most targets, the best opportunity.
All right. I wanted to give you a little time to make sure you were getting there, but you ultimately didn't. You made the right decision. Deontay Johnson in the 108 or Christian McCaffrey, 12-team Superflex, start 10 PPR.
CMC smash.
And then finally, Deontay Johnson and Alvin Kamara or JSN in the 205. This is only 0.5 PPR, but then everything else, 12-team Superflex, start 10.
JSN smash. I'm gonna go with the Josh Downs theory of 10 more years of him, JB.
There we go. So Downs and JSN, at least 10 more years. That's gonna be a strong wide receiver core for Coach Dan. And then he's gonna have J.K. Dobbins there, leading the way in his running back room.
Final thoughts.
33 trades, 36 minutes. That's pretty. If we're doing over under, I think we would have hit. We would have smashed the over.
I don't know if I put it live on the air because I think we we segued or something. But you asked earlier what we were going to bet, and I was going to say the under. So I would have lost my wallet here today, JB. So I better be a little careful if I'm placing any wagers later on.
There you go. All right. Episode 239 in the books, talking about a lot of Dynasty trades. We'll be doing the same thing next Sunday. That's going to be Mitch and myself. So Mitch is going to enjoy a nice European vacation here over the next week. And then Dan, you'll be enjoying some WrestleMania action. So hopefully you have a good time there. Like I said, episode 239. Holy cow. What do you got, Dan? Final thoughts for the listeners?
Man, that was a fun show. And I think this is prime Dynasty season, before the draft, after the draft. Be active in the Discord. I see different trade scenarios every day that get you thinking about the current market value of these players and should we make trades. I think it's a great addition to being part of our Dynasty Theory team is when you have those trades out there, you've got a whole group, not just JB, Mitch, and I, but our whole Dynasty Discord army that could give some good feedback on trades. But I think on top of just those comparisons today, JB, it's, knowing the league settings, it's taking the time to reach out and get some advice. And there's nothing worse than making that trade and then having regrets later. Don't be in a hurry to pull the trigger. There's no pressure. It's like the art of the negotiation. If they're rushing you, that's normally a sign that it's not a good deal. So, be well calculated and be active in your leagues. Nothing more fun than trading in Dynasty football. So that was fun today, man. I'll be reporting back after WrestleMania. Hopefully I'll get the people's elbow from The Rock and have something good to report. Some nice pictures I'll throw on the Discord. It's going to be fun.
There you go. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this week's show. We'll catch you again next week. For Dan Lamagna, Mitch Sorensen, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch everybody next week. Have a good one.